Oh, okay. Here we go. See, I just saw for it meant for me to come up at 14:44 hours, right? So that's 5 and 8. 5 and 8. 13, 1 and 3, 4. Okay, so this is some information that is foundational, right, to certain empaths. So, hi, thanks for coming by. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. This is my first time doing this StreamYard by myself, I think. So, just let me know if you can hear me. Say hi, and I'll keep this channel message. Okay, so anyway, what it is. Those empaths who have the ability to channel from the other realms, those who have transitioned, your ancestors, if you are attached to that type of energy, keep in mind that it is best for you to set your ancestral altar away from the area where you sleep or where you have sex. Also, this is not for anybody under 18. This is a channel message for adults. You know, this is for entertainment purposes only, but just some things I remember being told and have read. And maybe if you're feeling a little heavy laden, okay, from energies, or just at this place in your journey, that might be something to remind you. Okay, so in other words, you may not have your altar set up in your bedroom, of course. And this is if you have the ability and room to have a separate space. But even in some tribes, their ancestral altar is outside of the hut, or it's in a different space, a communal space even. In some cultures, well, mausoleums that are in cemeteries, basically the same thing as your ancestral altar, just that we don't know for sure. People could be going in there. There's keys and doors, so you may go in there every now and then and do whatever they have to do based on their family's history, their ancestral traditions. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Remember that. But yeah, there are places set up, right, where it's separate from the main home. It could be in a church, it could be behind a church, but it's not where you're sleeping and having sex, right? One reason is because you're being respectful of your ancestors, who are your grandparents, great-grandparents, uncles, whatever. And two, because you're an empath, and because this is just energy, you're maybe picking up on not only the people around you in the 3D, but also their energies also in your dream state. So I was led to come on here and just put that little piece of advice out there. So if you don't have room, as soon as you have room, try to make that differentiation between the space where you sleep and the space where you honor your ancestors, or where pictures of them are even. Like I said, you could just happen to have pictures of your parents on your dresser, or people who have crossed over on the walls, things like that. And I'm being led that if you feel your energy is being protected, right? And if you feel maybe that you're even under spiritual attack, it could be those energies that you're picking up on in your sleep, in your meditation, if you're doing it in your bedroom, in your sleep, in your sleep. So maybe that could be helpful to someone. That could be the answer. So those are about setting up boundaries of your own that benefit you, not for the benefit of anyone else but you, right? And your household, your immediate home, all right? You don't want to separate yourself from your ancestors and the protection, right? Not at all. But they're people, right? And we know that we learned a lot about all kinds of different issues. People may have smoking, drinking, personalities, narcissism, victimhood, abandonment issues that may not be yours particularly, but they may be in your ancestral line, and these may have been part of the ancestral karma that you have been dealing with or have come to pay for, or to recognize, or to stop from going forward. And so for some of you that this is resonating with, they just wanted to remind you that being that you're so sensitive, that you may want to find another space, yourself, a room, the living room, the walls, somewhere that's not where you sleep and not where you have sex. So, that was one thing. And just to understand that when you channel and you're dealing with other empaths, they may see something in you that's not really you, but they're empaths. And if you channel those who have transitioned, they may pick up on that and be afraid and not realize that it's not you, it's that energy that they're picking up on, because they are empaths, just like you're an empath. But some of us aren't in touch with certain gifts, right? Just like everybody doesn't, auto write. Everybody doesn't, audio sentient, or audio, or clairvoyant, or whatever the different ones are. Not everybody picks up on the energy of the ancestors or the afterlife, and you have that special gift. But if your friends or the people around you are empaths, that may be something that triggers them without either one of you all realizing it, and you may not realize it. So, and there's nothing really, you cleanse yourself, of course. Make sure you remember when you go into the cemetery, when you go to even a funeral, and you go to the graveyard, and not to do spells and none of that other stuff, none of that nonsense, but as a person who channels the dead. If you go into a cemetery, for a funeral, you have to put 9 pennies in the way in and 9 pennies on the way out. Just drop them on the floor. Nobody needs to know your business. When the cars come into the cemetery and you get out the car, just drop 9 pennies on the ground, right? And when you get, back in and you're leaving out of the cemetery, put another 9 pennies out the window as you're going out the entrance of the cemetery. I don't know what else to tell you. That's just what it is. So, if anybody asks you, then you tell them if you feel like it. If you don't, you don't. But that's to protect you, right? And your own protection. So don't feel no way about it. And that's just what it is, right? You have to pay that to not bring these spirits home with you, right? Um, so keep that in mind also as you continue on this journey. Don't forget it. And a lot of you may have gone to a lot of funerals over the past 2 years. Okay, thank you, Spirit. That's what it is. Lots of you may have gone to many homegoing services, funerals for people who passed. So maybe you need to clean yourself off. Okay. The spiritual baths, of course. Making sure you have your frankincense, your sage around you. Make sure that you remember those people whose services you attended, even if they're not family members. Acknowledge them when you say your prayers, because you were included in their memorial service from time to time, right? Go through pictures and stuff and put names of the people and the days, the dates of birth, dates of death on the back of them, so that that information is there, is easily accessible for the future, for future generations. Put as much information as you can about that person on those pictures, and that's another way to create the boundary, because they want to be acknowledged, right? And it's said that person will be gone until the last member of their family calls their name. So some of you, right? That just went crazy just then. Okay, all right, Spirit. So I don't know who heard that, but yeah, do write those names on the back of those photos, and write those names on a list. Put them inside of your Bible or your family baby albums or family albums or something. Put it in a place, type it up, or in a way that it won't be destroyed. Put it on, make a YouTube channel, make a video, keep it to yourself, put it on private, and the only person can open it would be, one of your family members. It could be private, unlisted, or public. So make it unlisted or private, and then your family can see it later on if there's some things that you need to share with them. Making, again, your own legacy video. But I've talked about that years ago, so I'm being led to tell you again. Make a legacy video, something that you want your family to know, so that your grandkids can know what your voice sounded like, your great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth. Because we lost those records, a lot of us, and we don't know what's going on in the world now. And so I guess this is why they want me to put this out for everybody. It doesn't matter if your nationality, your race, your religion. Get that paperwork, take pictures of it, whatever you got to do to keep it as much as you can, to record it somewhere, so that it won't, if you don't have access to the internet, go through your phone and make up a phone list, a phone book, get an old phone book, they still sell them somewhere, I'm sure. If not your date book from your job or your calendars, start writing down important phone numbers in your memo books, in your calendars that you never look at, from your uncle that works for the police department. They always give you those little calendars, memo books. Write down the phone numbers there, and birthdays and important information. Write it down, and you can always put those in your wallets and your purses. Okay. Yeah, we've been talking about being more self-sustaining and being more open to eating different foods, and opening up your palate, not restricting yourself. So keep on that, be open and be healthy. And don't beat up on yourself. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And we're going to pray for those who are being inundated with war. We're going to keep those families in Ukraine in our prayers. And we're also going to keep those families of those Russian young men and women who are being sent to a war that they weren't expecting to be involved in. They're not professional military. They are just doing as they're ordered to do, right? Following their leadership. So we pray for their families also. And we got to pray for our leaders and encourage them when they do the right thing. And let's just pray so that Vladimir Putin can be transformed. Okay? Maybe we send the right prayers in his direction. Who knows? But there's a lot going on, and Spirit just wants us to be prepared for it, and wants you to know that it's not easy, this particular gift, because no one wants to deal with their own mortality, much less the mortality of others. Right? And if you are one of those people who channels messages, but not only that, just you've always had that type of energy around you for some reason. Maybe you've always lived near cemeteries. Maybe you always went to school near cemeteries or worked near cemeteries, or, for hospitals or mortuaries or funeral homes. You're drawn to those places. If you resonated with this message, and so therefore, just advice to those similarly gifted or afflicted. Just clear your space. And if you have been, which I'm pretty sure most of you have been, I want to say Spirit is very proud of you. And this is to reassure you that you're doing the right thing. Because this is something that you really don't have a lot of people that you can really discuss with, right? It's a lonely place, right? Goes along with it. So it feels like a burden, but it's a burden that you are fully capable of handling. If you allow yourself to be open and not to fight it, and know that you serve a purpose. There are people here with us in 3D who cherish that gift that you have more than you do. Cherish that gift. So to you it seems like a burden, but to others is their ability, their chance to get closure, their chance to keep in touch, their chance to be comforted. So you are doing your service to us. Those of you who have that ability. Can't be taken away from you. You can shut it down, but it's still there for people who are empathic to pick up on. Again, back to this initial premise. So maybe that'll be helpful to someone, some people, or maybe it'll explain to you why you don't like certain people, why your energy around certain people changes. And it could be that they're an empath also, they also have that connection, or they may have an uneasy ancestor attached to them. And maybe you're picking it up negatively. Could be somebody. You may be picking up someone else's ancestor who they are not acknowledging. Okay. And so you may have mistook it for negative energy when it was actually looking for your recognition, wanting to connect with you in order to be able to get their child's attention. Okay, because that interaction caused them to look inside of themselves. Oh, and brought their attention back to their own ancestors. Okay, so whatever. Somebody got played here, used. Okay, and that's what happens sometimes. I guess, if you have that gift. When it's that important, they will use any means necessary. Okay, we are just the vessel, right? We didn't ask for this, but we volunteered at the same time. Okay, somewhere along the line, we were volunteered and we accepted the mission. So just be aware. The other people pick up things from you, and just as you pick up things from other people, and it's time to reconcile and understand that that's what's going on, and also that whatever happens in the dark will come to light somewhere along the line. And this is a lesson about communication, because had communication been clear and not blocked and not interfered with, it would have saved a whole bunch of hurt for this entire collective, because they didn't understand. They didn't understand the assignment was never about everybody, was never about patience. It's about fearlessness. The ability to go. Okay, we're no man's. Yeah, okay. What is that Star Trek nonsense? Yeah, okay. But the ability to fulfill the mission, but you have to know what the mission is. You have to be open to realizing what the mission is and accepting your mission, and not judging other people's mission because you don't. It could be misconstrued as jealousy, where you may not think that you are jealous, or you may not understand that people have what it is about you that someone could be jealous of. So it's not jealous in the way that normally we define it. It's more of jealousy of the ability to do what you do. And so if they can't do what you do, then there must be something wrong with you, because you can do it. Not everybody feels like that, but there are people like that, right? Who feel like that, especially if this person's an empath. and they're aware of their own gifts, but they don't have your gift, or they don't tune into it. They think they don't have it, or it hasn't been shown to them in the same way it's been shown to you. And it may show up as jealousy. There's more curiosity maybe, but also jealousy. And it's not really that they're jealous. Well, they may be coming out in jealousy of you, but it should be directed towards their relationship with God. All they gotta do is ask for it. If they're that tapped in, right? Certainly, you didn't ask for it. And even if you did, if it's that easy and you did it because you asked for it, then it should be just as easy for them too if they ask for it. If you got it without asking for it, then all they gotta do is try and ask for it. Don't try to undermine yours. It's just like anything, right? So hopefully that makes you feel better. I'm sure that you did not expect this gift either. But then again, that could be it too. Maybe people think that you knew this, always knew this about yourself, and you didn't, and you're just as surprised about it as they are. And instead of them being supportive and asking you how they can be supportive, they rather make fun of you or malign you or try to discredit you. But if they really wanted to know, they could always ask you and see if they could benefit from that gift, right? But because we have been educated or socialized not to tap into that particular gift because it's scary. But just like everything else has gotten a bad rap through the media, right? Through the movies. So has that ability, as has death. Nobody knows what death is really. And most religions are based on trying to unlock that magic, trying to understand what comes after this life. For a lot of us, we've just given up on it. Don't care. Don't even believe in anything. Others of us have, taken it to that Star Trek level, right? But none of us know. But they know, and they come back, they come through to certain people, and certain people know when they're there. Certain people know that their ancestors around them all the time, but they don't want to look odd to their friends and their society and those around them because it's not professional or it's not acceptable or it makes you look crazy. Then, but you already know. If your sibling has a gift, more than likely you have that gift too, but you're in denial. So then that affects your relationship with that sibling, right? So that's for somebody too. No need to be in denial because that's just like lying. Because if you know that you're capable, if you know that you've had these visitations, if you know that you yourself channel those messages from your ancestors, but you keep them to yourself. You don't share them, or you share them in a way that no one would know that it was actually a channeled message. Right? Some of you have them, they come up in dreams, and so you follow that message, but it's just not. Maybe you're a particular bourgeoisie type of person. And this kind of stuff is just so cultural, so African for some of you. Can't have that energy, right? Because that just brings more attention on to the fact that you are different. Try not to embrace that energy. Try to whitewash it, to blend in. And so the ancestors know that also. And for a lot of us, we are going to know that there is going to be more of us who are going to be accepting and receiving new family members. And that's going to be bringing some of your soul tribes full circle. And that could be any nationality, right? There may be connections that you needed to make with Asian soul tribe. There may have been a connection that you needed to make with Irish or Greek or Italian or French or something, Jewish, some soul tribe that you needed to connect with. Could have been Native American. You have been led to come in contact with those energies also. Again, this is related to your ancestral line and the fact that you're a channeler. You have visited different countries, visited different places, states, things like that. I have had those desires to be in those places. There's connections to, for some reason. So you need to travel there if you can. If you can't travel there, learn as much about it as you can, read about it. Keep it you'll be surprised the synchronicities that come up, right? And just because something comes up in the algorithm, okay, just because we know that they're listening and they're watching and whatever, doesn't mean there's not information that you need to have. There's something that you needed to be made aware of, and so therefore all the tools are being used. So the same way you can use these tools, Spirit can use these tools. The same way you can use these tools, Jesus will use these tools. The same way you use these tools, God uses these tools to create. Just like you do. Just like we all do. So there's no limits. So if it's not limited to us, why would it be limited to God? See, we're good to put limitations on God and equate that energy with our traits and personalities, or the image that we have of God. But again, we're all trying to figure it out for ourselves. Masculine, feminine. But the best part about this is knowing that you have the ability to at least try to maintain balance within yourself. to recognize your feminine energy as well as your masculine energies, and be accepting of it and not dismissive of it. And know that those energies, whether you're male or female, have gotten you through to the day. Whether you enjoyed your journey or not, you're still here. They got you through. So be grateful for that. Grateful for those experiences. Keep your head up. And just keep looking up. Now for some of you, because you are so empathic and you fought so hard against it, you're going to be able to peacefully exit. And that's not about dying or anything like that. You're just going to be able to get some peace from all of this brokenness. There'll be some peace from those broken pieces that you created for yourself by not being open, by not allowing, since you fought so hard. But you're that important to your ancestors that they're going to find peace for you and allow you to enjoy all the labor that went into getting you to this place. For somebody, that's important. You are loved. You're loved. You're loved. Always have been, always will be. Wanted and loved. Someone needed to hear that. It was always about wanting the child, that child was wanted. Unloved, always. Chosen. So even if you were adopted, you were chosen, right? That's important. Especially when you know how many choices there were. As bad as, people want to be on either side of choice, yes, no, whatever. But knowing that your mother had that choice and chose you, that's empowering right in of itself. Remember that. No matter what side of the pro-choice you're on, the fact that you're here. Now I know there's going to be one or two people that are going to have monster, memories that are horrible and traumatic because they survived abortion. That may have happened once or twice in my years. There's just been a trope that has been going on since whenever Roe versus Wade. They've been telling that same story. So I'm just saying, regardless of whatever, there was a choice made. If you were born after Roe versus Wade or conceived after that, 9 months after Roe versus Wade, let's go here. Doesn't mean the people who are for that, but I'm just saying, for those of you who want to be dismissive of the importance of that, or even dismissive of your life or of your mother, your family, understand. She had a choice. Your family had a choice. And those of you, even if you were given up for adoption, again, your birth mother had that choice, and you chose to do it differently. So let's be grateful of that. Don't be bitter about any of it, because it was meant for you to be here today. Whenever you hear this day. Okay, folks, I think that's enough, right? Is that enough? Sure. All right, let's see how this works. So hopefully it gets up to YouTube. And thank you everybody for stopping by. Whenever you come across this, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and share it. All right, and make comments or not. I don't know if I'm going to leave the comment section open, but just go ahead. It's just like feng shui. They tell me it's just like feng shui. How they tell you to put certain plants and lighting and stuff like that is important, right? It's the same thing with having the pictures of your family and your deceased loved ones around you in your sleeping space or your whatever sex space. Just move it. It can go into a closet. It could go on a shelf. It could go, in a separate edifice. It could go in another room. It could go in a den. It could go, the pictures can go in a living room. It's the altar that, you need to maybe find a space where it's not accessible. A lot of people keep their ancestral altar in the basement. All right. And so the only people who get to see that are people who are actually brought down there to see that. So you may not know that people are take care of their ancestors because they've put all of that information, all that altar, everything is down in the basement where you can't see it. And actually that's what's recommended because it's closer to the ground and also to the source of the water in the home. So if you're thinking of a place to put it and you have a basement space, it could be by your water tank. That would be, beautiful, or by your furnace. And you can keep it in the laundry room, something like that. It can be moved or placed initially out of the way, so it doesn't have to be where anyone can see it, right? If that's a concern of yours, and it certainly should be, especially now that, Spirit wanted me to tell you about, making separate space. But if you don't have a space like that, again, it could be a closet. It could be a shelf in a closet where you set up your altar. But as far as your pictures, you can put them in your living room. You can put them all around, mixed in on the wall, whatever you want to do. But if you're feeling this, if it's not affecting you, then it's not. But if you're feeling this extra burdening, if you're feeling like you're being blocked, if you're feeling like your energy is being drained, and you've done everything, you've opened up the windows, you've changed the curtains, you've made whatever changes in your space you felt that you made, maybe this is another space, another part that you may have overlooked. So you needed to be reminded, and so did I, right? So keep up the good work, all right? And I'll be talking to everybody real soon. Thank you so much for allowing me to share these messages with you. And I'll just be coming as I'm led. Sometimes it'll be tarot, sometimes it won't. All right. Be real good. Enjoy this new year. And see each other real soon. All right. Peace. I love you.